The narrative versus mechanical rules debate has been ongoing in the RPG space since before Twitch streamers started putting on improv shows using D&D as their person, place, and thing prompter. Like many, I got into the hobby as a D&D player, but then discovered there are games that share my love for storytelling without requiring violent foreplay to get to the good stuff. I like having a chance to flash around my story writing abilities and acting degree that God knows I don't use on a career, but that's not to say the game's mechanics aren't important to me, because they are. I love all of my top 3 favorite systems for their ability to mesh narrative with mechanics. They're flexible and let the players actually play with the game's world. So when Candela Obscura was announced to base itself loosely on my beloved Forged in the Dark system, with the tone of Vaesen and setting in the early 1900s, my little geekula oblongata started twitching. Candela Obscura, published by Darrington Press, the tabletop imprint for the production company of that one Twitch channel show nobody watches, is a mystery game set in a similar to Our World's early 1900s semi-modern setting of the Fairlands, specifically the city of New Fair, a mashup of Istanbul, Paris, and New York. Players will pick their character archetypes with different specific abilities as investigative members of the titular Candela Obscura, a secret ancient organization, basically Art Nouveau SCP, dedicated to protecting mankind from magic that infects our world. Players will be killing monsters, finding ancient superpowered artifacts, or closing portals to the magic hell dimension that exists parallel to our world. Magic in this setting isn't good or neat or cool, and in fact is what led to the destruction of the ancient precursor civilization whose ruins exist under the city and cracked the ocean in half. It's got a destructive radioactive quality, and that everything it touches is infected with bleed, which slowly twists and warps the physical world. The setting is kind of awesome for a mystery game. It's got a sleepy old world Sweden type of vibe, but with plenty of exciting new world urban locations. Spooky ancient ruins to delve, haunted forests, working class hellscapes. There was a world war over the Fairlands which ended because we were the first to invent electromagnetic nukes, with another one possibly on the horizon once the enemy learns to harness the power of Duracell. For campaign direction, you can have a This Is My Day Job Monster of the Week / Warehouse 13 series, a Cloak and Dagger's political spy thriller, or a Save the World from Armageddon grand campaign. And despite the period very definitely being set in our 1900s, my players refused to stop equating it to the 1920s flapper era, because I guess that's more fun to fetishize, but I leaned into it, and it was fun. You've got crappy Model T cars, the use of telegraphs, people constantly being mind-blown at basic technology, and the inevitability of players using a transatlantic New York accent, and calling people Weisenheimers and Blottos, cause bumping gums at the juice joint with them Zopines is the bee's knees. The depth the setting does have honestly just made me wish there was more. The book dedicates around 80 pages to the setting, which sounds like plenty, but in these pages they squeezed 6 secret organizations and their motivations, 20 pages about the culture, technology, history, and government, 13 New Fair city districts, 13 SCPS magic ruins locations underneath the city, 9 mysterious landmarks outside the city, and a partridge in a pear tree. But they only have at most 2 or 3 pages worth of material regarding the actual monsters and phenomena GMs can run, and very few items or artifacts. To their credit, they do provide story hooks and potential links to your campaign a lot throughout the book. And sure, you could just use monsters and artifacts from pretty much any other media, but that feels like a cop-out just because it's a missed opportunity for the game to set itself apart with actual gameplay mechanics. The setting is carrying the entire weight of this game's vibes, while the mechanics don't do much for it. The game's mechanics are as simple as can be. Using the Forged in the Dark, Illuminated World system, players roll d6 as equal to the number of action points they have, then take the highest roll. On a 4 to 6, they succeed at their roll. On a 1 to 5, they suffer consequences whether they succeed or not. Drive points add dice to the rolls, resistant points negate consequences, and your gilded skill lets you choose a potentially worse roll to refill those drive points. Body, brain, or bleed represent your character's physical, mental, and magic-related damage, respectively. Once they get a 4th point in one, they acquire a permanent scar. Once they get a 4th scar, that's it. They're either retired or dead. Marks feel kind of weak as a mechanic, since it's basically just hit points split up into 3 sections, and the difference between them isn't reflected by the mechanics in any way. You can heal these marks by using your your circle, resources. But these resources never feel limited enough to make the stakes intense, since your party will usually succeed enough of their XP triggers to pretty quickly fill their illumination trek. That's cute, I get it, cause Candela. It's a candle, it illuminates, which refreshes those resources when it's filled up. I do enjoy how your party levels up together with a shared XP system where you get points for role-playing to your character's role and solving mystery stuff. Altogether, this kind of simplicity seems right up my alley. However, as I've played these kinds of games, I've developed my own list of faults. I like simplicity, I like approachability, but I need something solid to grab onto. Mechanics support the mood of the story. This game doesn't necessarily have a lot of that. I don't agree with people's assessment that the game feels unfinished so much as it intentionally stripped out almost all of the mechanics from the games it takes inspiration from that gave those games a clear identity. In Blades in the Dark, there are stress points and flashbacks, a gang you're slowly building up around you, factions that you can form or destroy relationships and fight for control of the city with, wounds that feel heavy and impact your character's abilities, and all of these concepts have rules and mechanics around them. Even Vaesen, which I was a bit harder on in my review of it, has unique monster abilities and reactions, actual lists of era-appropriate items with role-altering effects, and a secret society headquarters that you're slowly building back into a prestigious official organization. Now, I'm not saying I need another NPC generator table in my repertoire, but Candela feels resentful that it's a game and has to give players things to do. There are themes in the game that could be great as mechanics, but aren't. In fact, this game just makes me constantly think of other games who used these themes better. There's the opportunity to really sell magic as a chaotic, monstrous, destructive force, but it only ever costs you bleed marks. In Forbidden Lands, magic can potentially rip your character into a hell dimension for a bad Speak with Animals roll. The phenomena you uncover and study could lead to a greater understanding of magic and the world before Newfair, and perhaps increase Candela's power and ability to combat them, but you just get a few XP. In Blades in the Dark, you can begin studying creature remains or reverse engineering artifacts to utilize them in the future. Even the scars your characters accrue just move skill points around. They don't actually do much to make your character feel like a battle-scarred, hardened arcane detective, besides being a different roleplay note. In Vaesen, less points in a stat effectively means less hit points. Scars feel scarring. Candela is strictly functional. It takes no creative risks in any direction and depends entirely on the same narration ability the players and GM would use for any other roleplay-focused system without bringing anything new to the genre. Which is fine for a lot of people. It's fine with me. Don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying playing it. However, when I try to think of reasons to recommend this game to other people over Vaesen or Reskin Blades, I don't have many, until I think about and remember where this game is coming from. Critical Role has always had a very interesting polarizing effect around their show. Some players' eyes gloss over when they get to the roleplay stuff. They're not here for namby-pamby improv classes, they're here to watch tactical fantasy combat scenarios that use their favorite rule system, while others say I don't pay attention during the hours-long combat scenes. I'm here for the unpredictable character drama, and Candela Obscura was specifically targeted for the latter audience. People who were D&D fans who don't enjoy playing D&D, or don't enjoy tactical combat, or are only just now learning that other systems even exist, and want to try out what these narrative-only systems are all about. A game with too many mechanical details very often instills a sense of, I understand D&D already, I'll just homebrew with that. So Candela makes sense for trying to simply draw people into a more narrative-focused system. It's a gateway drug to a different style of play. The community has been kinda hard on this game, but I want to go against the grain and say I would still give this game a recommendation, with a big ol' asterisk. If you're coming from D&D with no experience in fiction-first systems, this is a good introduction. And to all of you in that situation, I'd like to say, welcome to the whole world of RPGs that just opened up for you. And I can't wait for you to discover the one that makes you fall more deeply in love with the hobby. For everyone else, if you enjoy Fate or Powered by the Apocalypse games, you'll probably enjoy this game. Hell, you can even play those systems, and I'd still recommend getting this game for its campaign setting. And I cannot stress enough how much I am truly enjoying the hell out of this setting. I look forward to future content and supplements, because I'm gonna keep playing this a little while. Because no matter what rules a mystery game has, I'll still be watching my players take an hour to find the most basic clue that points to the most obvious suspect in the most obvious locations. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe if you want to watch me compliment sandwich more RPGs. Until next time, I hope you get a game in this week. Take care.